Alright guys, so this fanfiction idea, this three-way fanfiction idea, it was voted on over on Patreon. And as always, if you guys want to check out the check out movie reviews and episode reviews for Monarch Legacy of Monsters, as well as the episode reviews for Has Been Hotel, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the first tier. That'll allow you to interact with polls as well as those reviews. But anyway, once again, I want to thank you guys, those who sent in requests, or rather sent in votes for this. This one kind of won by a good margin, as you can see from the title. It is Tekken, X-Men, and Black Lagoon. So that's that's our three-way crossover for today. So let's get started. So the story begins one night on Krakoa. Yes, we're getting past the end of we're in the end of Krakoa era of X-Men. Let's not think about it. But this is set during the golden age of Krakoa. And essentially in here in this comic basically it's just an average night in Krakoa. It's quiet, it's nice, everything isn't, everything's just okay. Until the X-Men and the mutants get attacked, and the rest of the mutant kind gets attacked by Sentinels. But these aren't like their typical Sentinels. They're man-sized, and they look almost human-like. These are Jack Sentinels. So we have Jack Sentinels who are attacking Krakoa. They've managed to get past the Krakoan defenses and have killed several mutants that need to be resurrected, of course. The X-Men do manage to beat them, and they take it to Forge, and he's like, yeah, these aren't like our normal Sentinels. I've heard of these things called Jacks, which are these military weapons, and they're usually used by this group in Japan called the Mishima Zaibatsu. And Wolverine's like, fuck. And they're all like, well, what's the Mishima Zaibatsu? And Wolverine explains, like, the times I've been to Japan, every time I talk about, everyone talks about the Mishima Zaibatsu, it's basically treated as, like, its own government power. Like, it's more or less treated as, this shit will it's been nothing but a massive government, it's almost like its own government power. And they are run by a family that is constantly trying to kill each other. And at this point right now, this is a point where Kazuya is back in charge. This is think of it as like a version of Tekken 8. Heihachi is finally dead, and Jin and Kazuya are at war. So he basically says, Wolverine tells them if the Mishima Zaibatsu was behind this of making these Sentinels, which they do discover, there is they've obviously taken a lot of Sentinel tech to upgrade them, and this was probably a trial run because it's clear that the Zaibatsu has the right technology to use these Jack Sentinels to slip past Krakoan defenses and launch an attack on us. So, and they're like, and Cyclops is like, well, then the Mishima Zaibatsu has declared war on the nation of Krakoa, and we can go to war with them. And he's like, Wolverine's like, no. So there's a quiet council meeting held about it, and the quiet council are discussing on what to do, because Wolverine points out that look, if yes. I'm all for a good scrap, but the Zaibatsu, from the stories I've heard, these guys have the ability to fight whole countries and win. And if we go into Japan and start a war with the Zaibatsu, then Japan is under the economic hold of the Zaibatsu, so they'll join us, and then we'll literally open the door for humankind to try to exterminate us. And Magneto's like, then let them try. We'll gladly fight them. And Wolverine then points out, I love a good fight. This ain't a fight we gonna win. But there is a way we could get to Kazuya and find out what he's up to. Kazuya always held, the Mishima Zaibatsu holds this thing called the Iron Fist tournament every year. And lucky for us, that's coming up this year. So how about some of the, Cyclops then is like, you're suggesting we go as representatives of Krakoa to this Iron Fist tournament to see what's happened. And Wolverine's like, we still get to kill people, and that's all I like. And so, and obviously, like Jean and Emma make the point of, they obviously know they're gonna figure out that the Jack Sentinels attack is the reason we're joining. And he's like, yeah, that it was obviously an invitation. And Wolverine just like pops his claws and is like, then I say we accept that invitation. And they're like, well, who will go? So only a small number of the mutant kind can go to the Iron Fist tournament. So obviously Wolverine, Cyclops, Colossus, Rogue, X-23, and who else did I want on this little fighting team? X-23, Daken, and Kitty. Kitty, as well as Nightcrawler, are all head to join the Mishima tournament. However, this does get word spreads that Krakoa is joining the Iron Fist tournament as a show of hey, we are a nation too, and we're going to take part in this international tournament. That's their Krakoa's official statement is, we're going to join in the the spirit of unity among countries. That's Krakoa's official statement. It's not, we're gonna go over there and shit stomp Kazuya until he tells us why he attacked us. So, word gets out, and this reaches word to Roanapur, and Bella Laika calls a meeting with the Lagoon Company, and is like, so listen, I just heard that the mutants of Krakoa are going to join the Iron Fist tournament. I don't suppose anyone can go, would be willing to join that tournament too. And Revi's like, what are you talking about, sis? You want us to go? Why do you care about the mutants? And Bella Laika explains, I want to know what's over there. I want Hotel Moscow to get their hands on some Krakoan tech, and maybe if we get into, we ingratiate ourselves with the X-Men and find out what they're really after, because she already knows, this is bullshit. This is complete and total bullshit. They're joining for the spirit of competition. They want to know if there's something, because if it's riled up the mutants, they want in on it. Plus, this could get their way to getting some Krakoan tech. Or, at the very least, try to figure out what their medicines and whatnot that they can sell on the black market. So, they're basically trying to round up some people to fight. And Bella Laika has requested Revi to go. And Rock goes because he's worried about her. Revi is like, I can't use my guns. And she's like, well, that's your problem. And that's why I've also added in an extra fighter to our cause, a few extra fighters to our cause. So the other ones who came were Shenhua, because blades are allowed, Shenhua, Lawton the wizard, even though he doesn't understand yet that he can't use guns, and if he did, he's a fucking idiot. Sawyer joins, because she's like, yeah, I could use the chainsaw, it's cool. And Roberta, which Revi is not happy about it, the thought of having Roberta here. And the only reason they can, Bella convinced them was because, well, it'd be really bad if something happened to Master Garcia, right? And Roberta almost lost her shit, but Bella Laika got her way. So Bella Laika sends all of them to join the Iron Fist tournament. So now we have our big setup, and it is just all from here on out, it is just big fights. You have Revi taking on Raven. You have like Roberta taking there's a fight. I'd love to have like all these fights, like King taking on Roberta, Marduk and Colossus going head to head. It's an all it is all these characters thrown against each other in one just knockdown drag out fight after another. Like Yoshimitsu and Wolverine fight. How cool! Like just sidestep, Yoshimitsu versus Wolverine would be awesome to see. But yeah, Yoshimitsu and Wolverine do battle. You have like Cyclops, who goes head to head with who was it? Who did I have against him? Oh, Brian Fury. There was a lot of it, but during all that, the X-Men are trying to figure out what's Kazuya's whole plan, and they eventually discover, after doing some deep diving and a little bit of investigation, they discover that the Mishima Zaibatsu is working with Orchis to make these new Jack Sentinels. With the combined technology, they're capable of slipping past the defenses of Krakoa and can launch an all-out attack. So that's not good. On top of that, you have also members of the other outer circle of Orchis working to try to find ways to counter the mutants' abilities and whatnot. So the X-Men are like, shit, we don't know what, shit, this is bad. So we have to take out this whole factory and delete any, we have to just go scorched earth and keep these Jack Sentinels from ever having a chance of being created. During this, while they're having this discussion, Revy and the others are like, so, I heard you guys wanted to blow up a factory. We mere humans would love to help you, but what's in it for us? And Wolverine's like, how about keeping your heads attached to your shoulders? And Revy's like, ha ha, you're gonna have to work on your torture, sweetheart. I have experienced way scarier things than you. But Cyclops does agree that, you said it best, Wolverine. Krakoa can't go into an open war with Mishima. Plus, now that they have Orchis on their side, so maybe some human help wouldn't be the worst thing possible. So now the warriors from Roanapur and the X-Men are joined together, human and mutant together, to deal with this problem. So they have to basically break into this factory and tear down any kind of semblance of these Jack Sentinels, which they run into 4 30-foot tall Jack Sentinels that were prototypes for a Mach 2, and Fei Long is there with Kazuya, and Fei Long is just like, I'm so glad that you guys decided to show up. I'm really glad, because now I don't have to send these things to test it on your godforsaken mutant nation. Kill them all. So the Jack Sentinels wake up, and quickly the Roanapur characters realize shooting at this thing is not going to work. So they have to go take on Fei Long and Kazuya directly. Kazuya, the reason why he joined was because Orchis convinced him that Krakoa at one point was going to be a threat to his rule, and he also wanted to get a hold of the mutant gene to see if if he can get the X gene and the Devil gene and splice them together to make himself more powerful. So by the end of it, Cyclops and Revy do manage to get to Fei Long and Kazuya. Fei Long's just like, I'm out, leaves, and Kazuya fights Cyclops and Revy one-on-one, and yeah, it goes about as well as you think. It's not great for them, especially when he goes devil form, when he goes into his devil form. But Cyclops is like, bitch, I have fought way worse than you. Is just blasting everything he has with his visor. They get into a fucking beam struggle until Cyclops just overpowers his beam attack and actually wounds Kazuya. The factory by then is being destroyed because if they can't shoot at the problem, Shenhua and Rotten and the others basically planted explosives everywhere and blew it the fuck up. So by the end of it, the Jack Sentinels are destroyed. Kazuya has to give up on his old X-Gene thing, and as a token of gratitude, Hotel Moscow reaches out to Charles Xavier saying, hey, so those guys worked for us. I don't suppose you can throw us a bone. And he's like, in goodwill, we will allow, we will give our thanks to our friends in Roanapur. And she's like, yeah, can you give us something else? And he's like, that's all you're getting. And, however, Logan, like, gives them just he's like, I'm gonna regret this, but you guys literally, like, Scott and Logan are like, we're gonna regret that, we may regret this, but, like, you helped save an entire race. We'll throw you a bone. And gives them just a wee bit, like, gives them some of their medicine, which they can replicate and make cheaper versions of and put on the black market. But Scott tells Logan, they're not going to be able to do that for, like, it will take them years to try to make a pale copy. And by then, we'll have stronger medicine that will outpace it. So, but little do they know that's not going to happen. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That is the three-way crossover between Tekken, X-Men, and Black Lagoon. I want to thank everyone who voted, and once again, if you'd like to be part of the polls, just hit the link below, head on over there, hit the first tier. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.